Yes, thank you. Just to kind of follow up with the city manager's comments, again, the FCC did specifically mention the city of Thousand Oaks as a city that they believe our ordinance actually impacts their ability, that we've overstepped what the federal regulations allow. In response, however, the city has joined with other cities in opposition to this recent FCC filing. But this recent FCC filing, I think one of the speakers indicated that we needed to make changes to our ordinance based on that FCC filing, and that's not accurate. We don't need to make any changes to it. It's also really important for you all to know that the FCC is actually considering additional regulations, taking away even more local control. So it's really important for everyone who has concerns over these FCC regulations to contact your federal legislators opposing any additional FCC regulations. It's also important for me to remind the public, in case you weren't here when we were talking about it some months back, that the 1996 Telecommunications Act, and that was federal legislation, not FCC regulations. This is federal legislation. It was passed in 1996. That is the legislation that took away all cities' ability to consider health impacts from RF emissions. They specifically granted all aspects with respect to health and RF emissions were delegated to the FCC, and that happened back in 1996. So the only entity that can change that is the federal government. So if you know, as the city manager indicated, there's a lot of passion with respect to the concerns over the health and safety and welfare of our families and our children and our residents. Those concerns, we really need to be focusing that attention on our federal legislators. We've not received any communications from persons over concerns about coming to city council meetings. I've indicated in past city council meetings, we do have a process in place. If anyone seeks assistance, they just need to call the city clerk's office. However, to date, no one has requested the city to provide this. Finally, there was a mention by a couple of speakers as to an August 9th ruling and a California Supreme Court ruling. But my office has been working with our consultant, and we've also personally reviewed those cases. One of the cases basically says that you can consider aesthetic impacts. It has nothing to do with RF emission safety, just aesthetic impacts, which has no bearing on our ordinance. The other one, the August 9th ruling, dealt with the consideration of location requirements on Native American sites. And that case, although it doesn't have any impact on our ordinance, I will tell you that from my perspective and from other attorneys' perspectives and other cities' perspectives, we're hopeful that the language in that case can be used in the lawsuit that's been challenged in the Ninth Circuit. So we will definitely keep you posted on that. Again, go to our website for updated information. We're hopeful that this August 9th ruling will help the cities in their challenge to the FCC regulations, but it doesn't necessitate any changes to our ordinance at this time. And that's all I have.
Thank you. That brings us to the consent calendar. Do we have a motion to approve? Councilmember Engler?